Hello and welcome back to Visit Fylde Coast. This is a little bit of a different video for today. I'm afraid I'm going to have to put my bossy britches on and I'm going to have to wag my finger because I've had enough. I've had enough of people being negative and people complaining constantly. It's been getting on my nerves for some time, but today I just feel like I've finally got to say something. So if you want to just listen or not, please yourself. This is my opinion. Nobody's asked me to do this. Just sick of hearing people complain. So if you like the content, make sure that you subscribe, make sure that you've hit the bell for notifications, and don't forget to sign up for your Visit Fylde Coast email newsletter. If you don't like the content, scroll on by. Scroll on by. Nobody's making you watch. Nobody's making you see this point of view. So, what's been getting my knickers in a twist? Well, last week, I think it was last week, I went on North Pier and I did a little video for TikTok where I literally did three 20-second clips and I connected them together and I put them on TikTok, and they were just literally views looking across the pier and looking across onto the seafront. And I put the same video on Visit Fylde Coast on Facebook. I have to say, the one on TikTok sank like a stone, but the one on Facebook went and went a little bit viral. It didn't go wild, but it went fairly wild. It went a fair way. I think we were clogging on for 100,000 views by the end of a few days. And out of all those views, there were about 156 comments. And quite a lot of them were, oh, I like Blackpool, it's my happy place, etc. But quite a lot of people just couldn't resist sticking the knife in. And I've kept seeing the notifications flashing up on my phone as the week's worn on, and you know, there's been one after another, and every time I've seen one, I go, so in the end I thought, right, that's it, I've had enough. And in future, when people put rude comments on, I am just going to delete them. And if I keep getting rude comments, I'm going to ban people that put it on. That's how Facebook works, isn't it? That's how we do moderation these days. You're only allowed to agree. So what wound me up? Well, it started off with everything rusting as usual. No, everything's not rusting. The piers are rusting because they're made in iron and they're about 150 years old and they're just about in the water twice a day. You'll notice that I'm standing next to the modern new railings on Blackpool seafront, which are made out of, I would guess, aluminium, and there isn't a spot of rust on them. Not a spot. They look as new as they did the day that they were put in, because they are materials that are suitable for this environment. And they're new, and well, I'm saying they're new, they've been in at least 10 years, and they're designed to put up with the constant battering of the weather. You can see the foam on the floor down here, look. This is off high tide today, and this is what everything puts up with. This is why things look dirty, it's why things get rusty, it's because of the salt that's carried out of the sea and the salty air and the salty water that makes everything rust. Right, so that's the rust. And then a string of comments to the effect of, I've lived in Blackpool for years, I've written all these down, it's a total hole. It's also full of druggies, life expectancy is the lowest in the UK, and it comes bottom in all of the surveys. Well, I can't disagree that it is a poor life expectancy in Blackpool. And in fact, it does have the lowest male life expectancy in Britain. And in 2021 to 2023, it was an average of 73.1 years. But a lot of that is to do with poverty and unemployment, low-skilled seasonal jobs, But more than that, to do with the migration of people to Blackpool who've got pre-existing health conditions. So if you've got people moving en masse to Blackpool from all over the country because they think it's the land of milk and honey and that they're going to have the same rosy future that they enjoyed when they were kids, and they might be drug or alcohol dependent or whatever, and they were always destined to die at 62, it's going to bring the average death rate down, obviously. So that was the next one. There were quite a few along that line. All UK towns have some drugs, but nothing like Blackpool. It's a cesspit. No, it's not a cesspit. It's not a cesspit at all. There are people in Blackpool that take drugs, people that take recreational drugs, people that are addicted to drugs. You see druggies on the streets of Blackpool just like you see everywhere else. So I looked some statistics up about that as well. So according to a website called the Action Rehab website, the top 10 worst places for drugs, according to 2021 data, from the bottom are Durham, Northumbria, Kent, Humberside, South Yorkshire, Merseyside, the West Midlands, Greater Manchester, West Yorkshire, and coming in at the top is Cleveland. No mention of Blackpool. So there's lots of places where you can go to end up with a bigger percentage of people that are taking drugs. And the Southwest has the highest prevalence of illegal drug use in the UK, and Dundee and Glasgow have the worst drug misuse mortality rate, which is twice higher than the national average. And I'm sure all these places are all really nice, and there's plenty of really nice people that live there, and not everybody is a druggie, but neither is Blackpool. Neither is Blackpool. It really, this is going back to the rust this, it really is possible to professionally restore all this, but somehow there's no desire. What? I'm sure that Blackpool Council and the Sedgwicks that own the piers would love to do a perfect restoration job on all three Blackpool piers. They are national treasures. They are important to the history of the town. They are part of our DNA. They are part of the foundations of the town. Just imagine what it would cost to restore the piers. Just imagine. For example, we are doing a little shop, and all we're doing is the absolute basic bare necessities, and we've spent a bomb already. So imagine doing a grade 2 listed pier that is in the middle of the water, where everything you do, you've got conservation officers crawling all over it saying, you've not done that right, you need to use this paint, it's twice as expensive as another paint, but you've got to use this one. It's nothing to do with desire, it's to do with money. I mean, where's the money going to come from? And I've heard it's packed with immigrants is another one. Well, we all know that the Metropole Hotel has been housing immigrants. And to the best of my knowledge, they are still there. They are still there. But I thought that was an interesting misnomer as well. So I've looked that one up. And in June 2024, there were 462 asylum seekers in Blackpool that were getting support from government sources, from, payments and whatnot. The resident population of Blackpool is 141,000, swelled by umpty million tourists every year. So out of 141,000, I don't think 462 is an entirely huge number, really, is it? And then somebody else said, it's totally derelict if you walk 3 streets back from the prom. It's also full of drunken drug addicts. You really don't want to live there. Well, I would concur. when you go to the kind of, where are we? Let's make sure I've got my camera pointed in the right direction. The back of Central Drive and round this area here, it is a bit grim. There are streets at the back of the promenade that you wouldn't want to live on, that are in desperate need of attention. But in fairness to Blackpool Council, they've just got 90 million to do a major piece of restoration work and to regenerate some of the worst and most deprived areas of housing. And a lot of the problem is down to private landlords. You can't blame the council for everything. I mean, I'm not paid by Blackpool Council. I'm not on their payroll. I don't really get anything from Blackpool Council. But you can't blame your local council for everything all the time. Other people have got to take responsibility. It's just not cricket. I'm really getting my knickers in a twist, aren't I? It's a wonder I've not dropped my bits of paper that I've written on. And somebody else said the best thing is the road out. It's a hole of a place. Well, if that's how you feel, don't come. But final word went to somebody who said, and I thought this was absolutely spot on, at least North Pier is open, even with a bit of rust, unlike Southport Pier, which is in better condition, but has been closed ages because the council there say that it's unsafe. Exactly. So, there you go. That's my rant for today. That's my rant. I don't rant very often, but I kid you not, I've kept looking at all these comments as they've kept coming in, and it's just made my blood boil. Blackpool is no different to anywhere else. Yesterday, me and my dad, the two T-boys, we went to Liverpool. So we went to Liverpool 1 and we went via the dock. So as you drive round the dock, which is the old industrial part of Liverpool, there's just dereliction on every corner. It is what it is. It's an old industrial part of town that has not got the industry that it once had. And understandably, there are buildings and pubs and things that are shut down and deserted. There's weeds growing on weeds. And it's grotty, but it's fascinating. It's fascinating in its own way, and I just couldn't stop looking at it and seeing what it would have been like in the 1890s when people were working in the docks and how they would have been dressed and what they were doing and the buzz and the noise and the life that would have been there at the time. We went to Liverpool 1. If you've never been, it's a shopping centre. So it's basically a really old, neglected area of the town that they've renovated and done up and put loads of swanky shops in. So it's quite an expensive place to shop. So it's all really nice branded names and expensive stuff. We didn't buy very much at all, I must admit. We just looked. But it's kind of an area of exclusive expensiveness side by side with streets that are like the back streets of Blackpool, and everybody thinks Liverpool's lovely. So you can find it in every town. You can find it in Cleveland's. It's no different anywhere you want to look. So I'm afraid I'm going to be implementing a a zero tolerance policy on my Facebook pages, and if anybody wants to put rude comments on to the effect of well, expect it to get deleted, because I've had enough. Enough's enough. You may or you may not agree with me. I don't very often rabble on at great length about my opinion. I don't very often share my opinion, because at the end of the day, I'm bringing everything to you for you to make your own mind up. And I don't wear rose-tinted glasses either. I know that there are serious problems here, like there are everywhere else. I'm not entirely stupid, but I just think enough's enough. Enough's enough. So there. So that's my rant for today. And next time I might be covering something a bit more normal. And until next time, I'll see you later. Bye for now.